Hey everyone, welcome to Conversations with Kendell Lenice. I'm your host, Kendell Lenice. As you see, I'm solo today. My scheduled guest got caught in traffic. She was coming from Northern Virginia, and she didn't realize it was the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March. And I don't know where you are in the part of in this country, in this world, but we're in Maryland, and it's raining tremendously. So she was going to try to come and push it, but she's running a little late, so we're going to keep the show going. We're going to keep the party started. Okay, so let's see. What's going on this week? I had an amazing week this week. I always say I made it through the whole week, so it's a great week. Last week, I didn't talk about this, but April Daniels has an event called Rock Out With Me. If you're not familiar with April Daniels, I don't know if you watch Tamar and Vince. The guy LaShawn, his wife is April Daniels, and she has a campaign called Rock Out With Me, and it's about women united and empowerment for women. So I'm all for that. So I went to that last week. Let's see what else is going on. Tomorrow, I don't know if you're familiar with Henrietta Lacks, but if you're not, you need to get familiar with her. Her cells, basically, she's been dead for about 64 years. She died in 1951. She had cancer. She died at the age of, I believe, 31. She had cancer, and Johns Hopkins in Baltimore basically hijacked her cells. So she's an immortal life. So they hijacked her cells for research. So without the family knowing it, without her knowing it, without anyone knowing it other than the researcher at John Hopkins. You know about that, right?
May I?
Yes.
Okay.
That's Diamond K speaking.
All right. So you sound like you have a problem with that.
That she was hijacked?
I mean, you're using the word hijack.
Well, yeah. Oh, pimped. Maybe. Should I use that word?
She was deceased. True.
Yes, but you can't steal someone's cells. When they stole her cells. Wait a minute. When they stole her cells, okay, she wasn't dead. Yeah, they took them without her permission. She wasn't dead.
How do we know that?
Because if you read the book,
so you're saying that's what killed her?
Immortal Life of
Did she write it?
That's not what killed her.
Right. So then she was okay. Can you kidnap somebody who's deceased?
Look it up, y'all.
Can you kidnap somebody who's deceased?
She wasn't deceased.
I know, but I'm just saying, just another situation.
Yeah, you can kidnap somebody that's deceased. If you take the body and you're not supposed to, of course so.
So Johns Hopkins, right?
World famous Johns Hopkins.
Yes, did research on her and many others to find cures, to test things. So maybe for good, for bad, however you want to look at it, to make medicine, really, because it's really about selling medicine. That's what that business is about. So it's not necessarily about cures. It's about how can we keep people alive and sell them medicine.
Right. Part of her body, her cells.
Right. And so you think that, I guess, the family should have been properly compensated for this? That's what the problem is. Even if it's not compensated,
even though I think they should be compensated, yes. But even if it's not compensated, I think they should have been informed. They didn't even know. Her children, her family members have found out in recent years because of a researcher and the one that wrote the book, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. She did a lot of research and started from the beginning. I don't know. Have you ever read the book?
I have not read the book, but I mean, I guess my thing
is all in
they assumed that she was deceased because they buried a body.
No, she wasn't deceased. When took her
they
cells,
eventually
she was
buried.
alive.
I mean, they eventually buried her.
Yeah, she died 64 years ago.
Right. So she died 64 years ago. This is prior to some of the rules that we have now.
Right.
So this was, it was a free for all
out
here in these streets,
pretty much,
in these hospitals,
pretty much.
So,
and she was a black woman, y'all.
Yeah.
I just want to say that.
So her rights were limited.
Her rights were very limited, and she moved here from Virginia. They came here for better work, jobs. The plant. What's the plant over in Dundalk? That closed down. What's the name of that?
I didn't work there.
The big. But you're born
before
and
my
raised
time.
here.
Yeah. But I know what you mean.
That was a big deal for African Americans to come and get great jobs working in the actual the factory.
Right. So I mean, and I don't want you to think I'm right. Still mill. I don't want you to think I'm supporting it or I'm not supporting it. I'm just speaking from the standpoint of this was 60 some years ago.
That she died. She died at like 31.
And I'm sure that's very interesting to them. At that time, they didn't know anything.
No, because what they were doing is, and if you guys, like I said, it's called The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. It's a book about everything that we're talking about. You can Google it, research it.
I'm going to pick this up.
Yeah, but basically, they were doing researches. They were researchers. So they were doing all kind of, as you said, medical research. So they would take a lot of people's cells, but it so happens that hers it was multiplying. Like one day they put it in, then the next day it would triple, then the next day it would quadruple. It was going on and on and on where they couldn't even keep it housed anymore. Yeah. So they've used that for many, many years, and I guess the big controversy is
many people.
Yes, but I guess the big controversy is. They took her cells without telling her she was alive because she didn't die right away. She went in for a procedure. I believe it was cervical cancer. They didn't tell her kids. They didn't tell her family member, her family members, her husband. They didn't tell anyone. So for years and years and years and years, they've been using this.
But let's go. Let's look deeper as to what a cell is. So somebody say took your DNA, right? Mm-hmm. You took my DNA. You didn't tell me nothing.
Oh, it's a lot of women taking DNA.
Well, that's true. That's true. And some it was given, and they knew. Right. But I'm just saying. I guess what I'm saying is that like when you say took her cells, they took stuff from her body.
Yes.
But she still was able to live and be fine. They just took. She
wasn't able to live and be fine. She ended up dying.
But she was on her way out.
She died of cancer.
They did not kill her.
Let me explain something to you about cancer. My grandmother is a 2-time cancer survivor. Breast cancer back when I was like 18 years old, and about 6 years ago, stage 4 colon cancer. She is 96, 97. My grandmother lies about her age, so it's somewhere between 95 and 97. She's in her 90s. But she's still alive, and she had cancer. So who's to say?
But I'm saying, it's right. And I know people that my grandfather died of cancer in the 90s. Mm-hmm. And I have other family members on the same side that have lived. It's just one of those things. It just depends. But so you're saying that they prematurely took something from her
because they knew what they were going to do. So this is the thing. Well, now, like Diamond said, this is before it was consent. You have to have consent to do things with
she couldn't even vote.
Right.
At that time.
Exactly. This was like in the 30s, 20s, 30s, I think.
She definitely couldn't vote.
So they see this black woman. They're saying cancer, all the developments weren't what they are now. Yeah. So they're saying, okay, she's probably going to die anyway. Let's take these. She's an ignorant black person. She doesn't know. She doesn't have rights because at that point you couldn't even go into the front doors of Johns Hopkins. Right. So the black people had to go through another entrance, and like an entrance, like in many cases with us, back in the day. Yeah. So they're just like, basically they just took advantage. Nowadays, of course, they would have to have consent with any type of anything in your body. If you're donating organs or whatever, they have to get your consent. But back then they didn't. So the family is fighting. So tomorrow is like I guess Johns Hopkins has something every year. And I think it might be like almost like a guilt thing, but they have something every year for her every year, and they just started doing that. Okay. I don't know how many years ago, but it's a free event. It's at Johns Hopkins.
Are you going?
Yeah, because I go to UB, and that's part of.
What time is it?
It's at 8:30 to 12:30.
It sounds like 8:30 in the morning.
It's bright and early, 8:30 in the morning. And they give breakfast and lunch,
Well,
so you can get some education, breakfast and lunch. So, but guys, if you don't know who she is, I suggest just part of history and what's happening. I suggest you pick up the book. You too.
Yeah, I'm pick it up.
It's good. I'm reading.
Tell me, I have a question for you. Are you a organ donor?
No, I'm not.
I knew you were not. I knew you weren't. Why not?
I don't know. I never really thought about it, to be honest with you.
I mean, because they asked you, like, you want to be organ donor, and you were like...
I've never really thought whether I want to or not.
My mother was mad at me.
Yeah.
Why are you an organ donor?
Right.
What's wrong with you? And I said, well, if I'm on my way out...
Okay.
and I can't use the whatever.
You want somebody else to be able to use it. Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. That's you want to not be selfish.
I mean, I can't take it with me. It's going.
But then that goes into another topic that I don't even want to go into about the afterlife and what's going on then. So you
I don't know about that, but
but what
I may need it after all. Right, is what you?
It is a possibility. I don't know.
Ashes to ashes, but I mean, if you go and if you dig up a tomb. There's no organs there.
Right. I mean,
they're going to go.
Right. They're going to go. Exactly. Yeah. What made me think about it even a little bit is the movie with Will Smith and Rosario Dawson. What was the name of that movie?
Hitch?
I can't even think. No, whatever. Not no Hitch. You guys know what movie I'm talking about. It escapes me right now. No.
Oh, the one that just passed.
No, this is old. Yes, 7 pounds. My daughter said it, and she didn't even see the movie, and she knows what I'm talking about. seven pounds. I don't know if you guys seen that, but basically, he thought he was dying. The premise of he was dying, so he knew people that were on the donor list or waiting to receive organs or eyes or whatever it was. So what he did was he went around and kind of like got to know people to see who they really are, what they were really about, were they good people. And when he died, he was going to give one guy, I think it was, and I haven't seen it in years, needed the sight. He couldn't see any longer, so he was going to give him his eyes. Then somebody, let's just say with a heart, I can't think of all the organs, but he went around, and one guy was just a plain jerk, and he was like, he's not, I'm not keeping him on this earth type thing. So then that's how, Rosario Dawson was sick, and she needed, they kind of was like a love story. She needed something. I mean, but it was a really good movie. I don't think so.
Probably not.
But it was very profound. It was a lot of good stuff in that movie. So that's old.
Now you
want to
be a donor.
No, I didn't say that because that's old.
Like, no.
That's old. I mean, I would have to give that more thought.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right, y'all. So that was Henrietta Lacks. If you're in the Baltimore area, I know it was sold out. It was free tickets, but I know a lot of people won't come, and they said they are taking people at the door. So maybe I'll see Diamond there. Maybe.
You are going?
Yeah, I'm going. Bright and early in the morning. Yeah, I mean, then that way you can kind of connect the dots, and then when you read the book, you're like, oh, okay, I see. So it's on iTunes, iBooks or iTunes for I think $11, $7, so it's not a lot. Yeah, so it's a powerful book, powerful story if you don't know about it. All right, guys, we're going to talk about Home Buying 101. I know I got a lot of questions, and a lot of people were asking me a lot of posts about last week's show. We had a realtor on the show, and people still had questions. An hour wasn't enough. So for my full-time job, I do housing counseling. I do budget coaching. I do credit coaching, savings coaching. I've been in this business for about 17 years. And like I tell my workshop goers, I don't know everything, but I do know what I know. I do workshops every single month for first-time home buyers. Sometimes we have 100 people, and we still have to turn people away. They're free workshops about the different grants out there for first-time home buyers. I do credit, like I said, savings, budgeting, all of that. So from top to bottom, all things purchasing a home. I work for a nonprofit in Maryland, and I also do one-on-one counseling sessions as well, digging in, because when you do the workshop, it's in a big setting, 100 people. You can't possibly touch every single one. But my goal always is to teach someone something that they didn't know prior to coming to my workshop. So I really take pride in really educating people so they don't run into the pitfalls out there and the little dirty scoundrels that are out there just to take someone for their money or jack up the prices on housing. A lot of things have been regulated a lot more since the big crash in, I would say 06. So it's regulated now. All states are different with their requirements, but working on your credit, saving, budget, all of that stuff is the same no matter where you go. So let me see where I want to start. Okay, so if you're looking to purchase a home in your area, I can speak on Maryland for this portion. If you're looking to purchase a home in Maryland, let's just say Baltimore County, and then other cities and counties, they have programs like this as well. Nonprofit organizations that you can attend to get the education and knowledge on the home buying process. Because what I find is most people spend, when they're, okay, let's say someone's trying to get a new car. People get online, they search for new cars, they'll go to North Carolina, they'll go to Virginia, they'll go anywhere. And if you're another part of the country, you'll go 50, 100 miles or more to go pick up that car. You do a whole bunch of research. You can tell someone up and down, back and forth about this car and what it has and what it doesn't have. But I notice when people are purchasing a home, they just go out and purchase a home. They don't have a clue on what's going on. And like I tell my people in my workshop, you would be a fool these days not to know anything. You don't even know how to spell, and you don't even have to know how to spell, and you can Google whatever you need. Because if you don't even know how to spell what you're trying to say, Google will say, did you mean this or did you mean that? So there's no reason for you not to be able to educate yourself on anything. So we're talking about home buying. So even, home buying, credit budgeting, all of that jazz. So it's very important to find an organization, I would say a free organization that can help you kind of nurture you through this process, because lenders, realtors, and a lot of other people that play a part in home buying, they get commission. So sometimes your best interest is not their best interest. Just like you go to work to get paid, they go to work to get paid. So it's not always your best interest. A lot of the organizations like mine, non-biased opinion. Well, a non-biased professional opinion, but with me, my clients get professional and personal opinion because I have been in this business for a little bit. So I know what I'm talking about in most of those areas, if not all. And well, all of the areas that I teach, but things constantly change, so I'm certified all the time in credit and budgeting. I'm a certified financial coach as well. So all things home buying, all things real life, you can ask your questions to me. So the phone lines are open. If you are watching and you had a question, but I'm going to go further, but let me just give the number. It's 404-436-1277. So if you have a question or a comment. All right. So someone looking to purchase a home, let me just talk about the laws in the United States, federal law. In order to get any first-time home buyer programs out there, the grant, the money, you can get up to like $50,000, $60,000 to purchase a home. You have to attend educational workshop, a pre-purchase workshop. And that's all the states, not just Maryland. Because of the foreclosure issue that we've had over the last few years, it's regulated now that you need to get some education before you go out there and purchase a home. You really need to know what you're getting into. So that's the first step. So you would look for an organization in your area, in your vicinity to go to. You would go to a class. So you have to have 6 hours of education when you're purchasing a home. And that's typically that workshop, that group workshop. And then you have to have a one-on-one counseling session. Although some of the people in my workshop spill all their business, tell everything in front of everybody, the one-on-one process is really so I can kind of peel back the layers to figure out what's going on, or if this person is ready to purchase, if their credit is up to par, their saving habits, do they understand the importance of savings, how to save, and budgeting, otherwise known as spending plans. So they will go to the workshop first, get the education. If you're in Baltimore County, you would get it from me. That's in Maryland. But other parts of Maryland, different counties, different states, they have their own programs. First thing, you go to the program. You find out what you need to find out. My class is very loose. I keep it, I go off book, but I keep it it's an interactive class because a lot of people have good questions and concerns, and I want to make sure that I help everyone in their particular need if it's not the same as everyone else. So you go to the class. So that would be the first step that you would do. Actually, I'll back up. The first step you really need to do is save your money. And like I tell my class, if you don't have at least $2,500 saved, you're not ready to purchase a home. People talk about the programs. Like I said earlier, you can get 50,000, 40,000, 20, 10, down to 5, down to $2,500, $1,000 to purchase a home. A lot of people have purchased homes and they didn't realize the programs were out there. I know when I purchased my first home, we used every drop of money to do that. Back in the day, I didn't even know about the first-time home buyer programs. Now they're very, very popular. They're now, like I said, it's regulated and mandated that you have to go to a first-time home buyer class. So the first thing, just to go there, just to see if you're ready. Take a class, see if you're ready. You might not even really be ready. Once you hear all the components it takes to purchase a home, you might be like, dang, I'm not ready to purchase a home yet. And that's cool too. And the one question that I always ask someone that wants to purchase a home, I always ask why. Why do you want to purchase a home? Because you're the only one in your family that doesn't own a home? Because you're the only one at work that doesn't own a home? Because you feel like you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, you've reached a milestone and you should own a home? Are you basing your character on the home? Because people like, if you rent, you're a loser. If you don't purchase a home, then your value is kind of put in that, which is garbage to me. So you want to first figure out why you want to purchase a home. And if you're purchasing a home for you, that's the first step. Not because you're pressured to purchase a home, or because you're the odd man out and you don't own a home, or because someone is saying that you need to own a home. Why aren't you owning a home? You got to really decide if this is for you. Because if you like to party, if you like to travel, if you like to buy shoes, if you like to just blow your money, go out to eat all the time, then home ownership might not be for you. It doesn't mean, because this is your money. You work hard every day. Your money is for what you want it to be for. So sometimes you can't go on vacations a few times a year. You can't buy items at the drop of a dime. Everything might have to be planned out. So that puts a little restriction on it. So if you're not ready to actually focus and kind of put your priorities in line, and you're not really serious about purchasing a home because you want to do other things, you don't know if you're ready to be tied down to a 30-year mortgage, then it's something to think about prior to you just trying to get approved and going out to buy a home. So you have to ask yourself, am I even ready? So a lot of the workshops will get you ready to purchase a home. So, and like I said, if you don't have, savings is a big component in purchasing a home. Even though they have all the programs out there, the process of saving is an art. A lot of people say, oh, I got my taxes back. I can save money because I just put the whole check of $5,000 or whatever the money, the amount in the bank. That doesn't mean that you know the process and the importance. That means that you took a check that someone else gave you from your tax return. It was your money, true, but you got the check in bulk and you now put it in the bank because you want to buy a home. That's not knowing the process. If you didn't have any money in the bank prior to that $5,000 tax return, then you're not ready. It's all about really focusing and knowing the process of saving, because the first priority is you. You have your bills, you rush around to pay the gas and electric, you rush around, God forbid, if you don't pay that cell phone bill, you'll probably pass out, but you pay all these bills, they're in high priority, you're making sure all these bills, the cable bill and whatever, car payments and all of that. And people always say, true, you need to pay where you live first. I disagree. I think that you need to pay yourself first, because if you don't pay yourself first, you will never, ever, never, ever have savings, because by the time you pay everyone else, you're going to have like $1 left, in some cases. I've seen it. And of course, what are you going to save at that point? True, you can save the $1, but how are you going to survive after that? If you have the urgency for yourself and you pay yourself first, then focus, on the rent or the mortgage and go down from there, from prioritizing what you have to pay, then you'll always have savings. And then you start doing it regularly, or have it auto withdraw from your bank, from your job to your bank. You get the, transferring the money or depositing a certain amount just for savings. then after a while, they say if you do something 21 days, it becomes a habit. So after a while, what happens is you stop forgetting that you put that $20, $30, $40, $100 away every time you got paid. Because this is the thing about saving. Savings doesn't mean you have to put away $100 a week or $100 a month. That doesn't mean, people always have this magic amount like $100 or $200 or $500. They think that's saving. But if you only have, because everyone out there, your income is not the same. One person making $20,000 is not the same from someone that's making $100,000 a year. But I guarantee you that person that makes $20,000 a year probably has more saved than $100,000, because when you make more, you tend to spend more. But it can start with savings $5, just so you know what it's like to put money away. And then once you see your bank account growing, then you're going to say, okay, I kind of like this savings thing. Then you're not going to want to touch it. But what happens is most people touch their savings. Most people start off real good. And I know I'm talking to some people out there. Most people start off really, really well and saving, and then something comes up. I know I talk to a lot of single parents, or a spouse lost their job, or a student is going to college, and you have to dip into your savings account. Your car breaks down, you have a high energy bill, whatever it is. I totally get it. You have to dip into that savings account to get your, whatever your needs met at that time. But you can start off saving. Every time you get paid, go to your human resources department, your accounting office, however your job works, or if you're self-employed, then you have to be a little more disciplined. Each time you get paid, you need to decide what percentage of your paycheck. You can do it by percentage, or you can do it by dollar amount, and decide, okay, every time I get paid, I am going to put X amount of money away. So once you decide that you're going to put X amount of money away, then you'll start to see the benefits of saving. Then you're not going to want to touch it. Then you're going to think about it if you're in Walmart, because I always say Walmart is the devil. They will get you hemmed up every single time going in there, and it's the whole things of needs versus wants. And that's what the marketing plans and the strategies are for, putting everything on the end cap, putting things on the register. That's to make people spend even when they didn't plan on spending. So you have to be disciplined that way. And once you start seeing your savings account grow, then you're going to realize, oh, I really don't need that. I don't need that junk. I don't need that as seen on TV stuff. I don't need that. What's the different program, the different products. You start to say you don't even really need that. You really are more concerned on focused on saving. So that's the second thing. So decide if you want to purchase a home, then, or let's change it around. Go to a class. The class might help you decide if you want to purchase a home. Then start saving your money. Don't listen to everyone. I know a lot of people say, oh, well, you don't need money because the programs are out there. You don't need your own savings. That's a lie. You do need your own savings, and you would be a fool to move into a house with no money, because what will happen is you will be house poor. And that probably a house that you can't afford, paying a high mortgage just to keep up with the Joneses, and that's not cool. You got to decide on your own what's best for you, because everybody's pockets aren't the same. So you might be working with somebody and they can afford a mini mansion, a $500,000 house or $1 million house, and you might, let's say, can afford, and there's nothing wrong with condos, nothing wrong with townhomes, none of that. But you may be able to afford a small condo or a small rancher. You may not be able to afford what they afford, and that's fine. Everybody's pockets are not the same. So you really got to then decide, and you will learn in my class and in the one-on-one, or you can kind of do your research and find the calculations online, but really decide, or really see, I should say, how much you can afford in mortgage. Because some of you, if you're renting, you're probably paying more than you really can afford in renting. So there's a calculation. I can email it to you if you're looking to figure out that calculation, or you come see me, call me. If you got my number, call in right now, 404-436-1277, if you have any questions about that, but how much you can really afford. But first, you got to figure out, working with a professional or figuring out on your own from the online applications, how much you can afford. And you have to stick with that, because this is the thing. When you go to a lender to try to get pre-approved, a lender, a loan officer, a bank, all three the same things. If you're trying to get a pre-approval for a loan, that lender automatically is going to try to get you to be approved for the max amount. Because if they get you approved for the max amount, then what? Their commission is more. And I don't know if you guys know, with the lenders and the realtors, they get paid. So sometimes that's what happens. They're really not looking out for you. So you got to really educate yourself and really know what's going on. That way you're not going to get, taken advantage of. Because a lot of people, when they're purchasing a home, they do become, victims to a lot of wrong business doings, I'll just say. Or really the lender or realtor or whoever you're working with kind of looks out for themselves. So you really got to educate yourself on what you're doing, and then move forward that way. And then always ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions, because if you don't know and you don't ask, then that might hurt you in the long run. So you want to really figure out how much you can afford with all of your other bills included, all your prospective bills. If you owe student loans, at some point Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, they're going to get you. And you need Sally Mae, I'm sorry, I'm talking about other types of houses and programs. But Sally Mae, Sally Mae or Net Loans, they're going to come looking for you. So you got to kind of factor that in. Even if you're in school now or your student loans are deferred, you want to factor that into eventually paying. Because if you max out what you qualify for, and you work a part-time job, let's just say you work overtime, every piece of money that you get, that you earn, you put it into this house. If something happens where you lose your job, or you decide not to work overtime anymore, or you got something that you really couldn't afford, then that's really going to mess you up. And a lot of people have been messed up because and lost their homes due to foreclosure, because they purchased homes that they really couldn't afford in the first place. So that's a problem right there. So you really want to kind of stay in your lane with the type of homes you buy, and really focus on the need, like purchasing a home, not so much a mini mansion or this area or that area. You really want to focus on how much you can afford and the need. And then the houses, as you progress, and this I'm talking about first-time home buyers. If it's your first house, you may not get everything you want in that first house, but there's always room to grow when you get your second house or maybe third house. But just to make the investment on purchasing a home, really just stick with what you can afford. Another component is credit. That's a big one for a lot of people. I'm gonna tell you, credit, you can't even get a job if you have bad credit. You can't even get a certain job. You're with a lot of car insurance, auto insurance. They pull your credit to give you a better deal. A lot of people are looking at your credit for various reasons. So they usually say that the credit is a snapshot of who that person is. I disagree, because some things happen. You get divorced, you get married, you lose your job, you have death in the family, and your children are going to college. So sometimes your credit gets a little wacky, and that doesn't mean that you're not a responsible person or that you don't pay your credit, or you don't care about your credit. Life happens. So when life happens, sometimes your credit is messed up, but doesn't mean that you can't get it back together. Credit is very simple, and most people don't understand it. It's difficult to understand. Some people can't read their credit reports because sometimes it's not black and white. It's not boom, 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 boom. And to some people might say, oh, yeah, I know how to read it. It's plain and simple. But you have to understand, some people don't know how to even read their credit report. Let's not even talk about don't know how. Some people don't even know their credit. They've never pulled their credit because they're scared to death to pull it, because they know they've been irresponsible with their finances, or something happened in their life where their credit is shot. A lot of people co-sign for a lot of people, and the person that they co-signed for or they were on a loan with didn't pay their bill. So then that affects that person's credit. So some people get scared to pull their credit. Also, if you are a junior, or if you have siblings, or if you've been married, exes, all of that stuff, sometimes what happens is their bad credit becomes yours without you even knowing it, because they will attach people that have similar social security numbers. They will attach people that have lived in the same household. They will attach you to a lot of different people and you not even know it. If you don't pull your credit, you won't even know. Your credit could be ruined. But if you're scared to pull your credit, then you'll never know what it is. You'll never know what you're getting. And I notice a lot of people don't pull their credit until they're ready to do something, whether it's to start a business, to get a small business loan, to get an auto loan, to get a home loan. That's when people start saying, oh, I need to get my act together. I need to work on my credit. But I think that it should be an ongoing thing. You should always look at your credit. You should always work on your credit. You should always know what's on your credit. The misconception is, well, and a lot of people have this, well, I don't want to pull my credit because my score is going to go down. That's not the case, because if you pull your own credit, your score will not go down. If someone else pulls your score, it will go down. If someone else inquires about your credit, it will go down. If you have inquiries on your credit report and say you went looking for a car or trying to get pre-approved for loans or credit cards, that inquiry stays on your credit for 2 years. So you have to be wise when you decide to open up credit, because if you're not approved, then that's a damper on your credit. So a lot of people go to apply for things not even knowing what their credit is. So it could be pretty good or not so good, let's just say, and then you go try to get approved for something and you can't get it. And then that's when it triggers people to say, well, let me look at my credit. Whereas if you knew what your credit was and what the criteria was for this bank, this auto loan, this credit card, then you would know, okay, I'm not there yet, so I'm not even going to have my credit pulled because I know I'm not where I need to be in order for them to approve me. But you have to know that. So I always talk about Credit Karma, KARMA.com. It is totally free to get your credit report from there or your credit scores from there. I use it. I recommend people use it just to give you, and credit scores are slightly different depending on who pulls them, but that will still give you a rough estimate on where you are, and it will also give you a list of your creditors. So if you get a list of your creditors and you see something that stands out, let's just say you got a Home Depot card, but you don't even own a home yet, you've never been in Home Depot, and there's a Home Depot credit card on your credit, then that's something that you need to investigate, because that's not yours. That's something that you need to dispute. But like I said, if you've never pulled your credit, then you don't know what's on your credit. So you really want to kind of see what your credit is about, try to figure out what's on there, what needs to stay, what needs to go off, certain things in collections. If you owe somebody and you know you owe them, whether it's a doctor's copay, whether it's a doctor's bill, whether it's a former rental property that you didn't pay for, whatever it is, if it's on your credit, because a lot of people have like $25 amounts, $50 amounts, $100 amount, and it's prohibiting them from getting a job, getting insurance, getting a house. I would say with those things, start with those little small amounts, take care of those, pay those off. I know sometimes people say, well, it's the principal. You need to clean up your credit. So with the small amounts, $25, if it's sitting on there and it's not going to fall off for sometimes it's supposed to be 7 years, but sometimes it's 7 to 9 years. So you're having something held hostage on your credit, affecting your score because you don't want to pay the $25. So the thing about credit is credit is not a bad thing. Some people say, well, I don't like cash. I don't fool around with credit. You know, especially old school people. I don't mess with no banks. But credit is not bad if you properly use it. See, the thing is, most people let credit use them, and they don't know how to work the credit, and they let them work them over, and then they have high interest rates or late payments or past due bills because you don't know how credit works. So let's say that you have a credit card. You have a credit card. And you have a limit of, we'll start low, $500. $500 is your limit when you first get the credit card, okay? So people think, okay, I got a limit of $500. What I'm going to do is just hold on to this credit card. I'm not going to use it because I really don't like credit. I call myself trying to help my credit, so I got this credit card, but I'm not going to use it. And well, in fact, you're hurting yourself not using the credit card, because if you have it, it's on your credit report, you've opened it. And what happens is if you don't use that credit card, they will close it. And for a creditor to close a credit card or any type of account, that makes your credit score drop because you're not using it. So if any accounts that you have open, freeze from closing them, because that'll drop your credit score dramatically. So that's not something that you want to do. But you have that credit card, $500 is your credit limit. What the rule of thumb is 30 to 50%, kind of keep that. So what I'm saying is if you have a $500 limit, act like you have a $250 limit. Means don't go past $250 when you're using your credit card, because once you start going over that, then your credit, it looks like you're dependent on your credit, and that will start to lower your score, because they're like, wait a minute, they're close to this limit, which means that they're living pretty much off of this credit card. So always cut it in half. You can do 30%, but 50% is a lot of times it's easier for someone to calculate than 30%. But if you want to sit down and calculate that, or if you're good with math, only use 30% of your available credit, or your available credit. And that's a way to bring your credit score up. Also, another way is people, and this goes back and forth in the industry, people say, well, you should pay your credit card off each month. Some experts say that, and some experts, like me, I'll say leave $10 or $20 on that credit card, because they like to see that something is on there. They, meaning the credit reporting agencies, which is Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, they like to see that you have something on that credit card, okay? So, and that you're using it, paying it. So I don't know anybody that doesn't have a cell phone. So if you have a cell phone bill, let's just say, and you usually go into the Sprint, Verizon, AT&T store, and you make a payment to your credit card, or you use your debit card to pay online, that's money coming from your bank. That's a bill that you're going to have every single month. So what you can do is use your credit card to pay that cell phone bill, and then take that money, that cash money that you were going to use, cash meaning cash, or your debit card, that's still considered cash. Take that money that you were going to pay your bill with and put it on that credit card. And that will help generate your score as well, because sometimes scores stay stagnant. So you want movement, good movement on your credit cards. Or you want to, let's just say with your credit card, you want to use your credit card for gas every single month. You get $50 or every week. Let's say you get $30 a week in gas. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to use it, pay it, use it, pay it, use it, pay it. But the key is knowing when your due date is. And a lot of people don't even know what their interest rate is for the credit cards. They don't know when it's due. So the whole idea is to pay it before it's due, before they report it. So even if you want to use your credit card, you have to rent a car, let's just say, and you're traveling, and that's maxing out your credit card. That's fine to max it out for the time being, but you better have that payment in prior to the due date. And typically, rule of thumb is 2 days before the due date. And then once it's due and then you pay it, then you'll be back up again. But if you wait, or you don't know when your credit report is, when your creditor reports, then you're going to mess yourself up with that. And also another key is to really pay twice a month on your credit card. Some people pay more. I'm not against paying more, but at least, and you never pay the minimum payment. You got a $25, $50 minimum payment. You never pay the minimum payment of $50. You're always going to pay more. And even if you're paying twice, because say, if, for instance, you get paid twice a month. So what you're going to do twice a month is your payment is due, let's just say, on the 15th, okay? So what you can do is you can pay on the 1st before the 15th, and say you want to pay that minimum payment way before it's due on the 15th. You want to pay the $50. So you're going to pay the $50, and then when it's due on the 15th, you can pay, depending on the way your bank account is set up, you can pay $50 on the due date. So that's still the minimum payment, but you see that you paid $100 that month. And what's going to happen is it's going to start to trigger your credit score. They will potentially increase your credit card, but they'll start to see that you know how to use the credit card. Because basically, even like I was explaining to my daughters go to all of my workshops. They help, they volunteer, they surpass their credit, the volunteer credit hours. In Maryland, children have to have a certain amount of volunteer hours to graduate high school. So my kids surpassed it. It starts in junior high. You have like, 6th grade to 12th grade. You have that window to do 75 service hours. So you have 6th grade to 12th to do that. If you don't graduate from high school. So I've been teaching my kids about credit, money, budgeting, savings, all of the whole financial piece since they were little kids. So they've surpassed their 75 volunteer hours probably like in 6th grade. So they had all, from 7th to 12th, not to even worry about that. I think it's very important to teach your kids about money. And how I started teaching my kids about money, well, let me pause on that for a second. Remind me about that, Amara, to talk about that. But I just want to finish up with the credit. So you just really have to understand your credit. You really have to understand your credit, how it works, make it work for you, generate that score, don't pay the minimum payment, find out when your due date is, have a conversation with the customer service agent just to find out how that credit card works and find out your interest rate, because a lot of people don't know their interest rate. A lot of people get hemmed up with credit to get that 10% off. Y'all know what I'm talking about. 20% off. When you send it at Target or somewhere and they say, well, would you like to save 25% today? And you say, yeah. You don't even know the terms of that credit card. It could be 99% and you got to pay every 2 days, but you don't know because you just want that 25% off. So a lot of people get a credit card to get that initial discount, and then they put the credit card in their drawer. So they think that that's hurting them, but that's helping they think that's helping them. But it's, I'm doing a lot of talking. I'm sorry. Let me take a breath. Okay. So they're thinking that credit card helps them, but it's really hurting them, because if they had no desire or no plans to use that credit card and they just got it just to get it, I talk to people all the time, well, I just got it for the discount. Well, you not using that is going to mess you up, because eventually they're going to close it. And when they close it, your credit score can drop down to 20, 30, 40. It can drop down 40, 50 points, 60 points. I've seen it. So when you're purchasing a home now, a lot of people say, oh, well, I can get you approved with a 620 credit score. But the typical score in the industry now is 640. That's to get any of the programs, the government programs. So the highest score that you can get is like an 850. And that's almost like an artifact. Like you're looking at somebody, credit score that's 850. You're looking at it like, dang, let me see that. I've never seen. It's been a long time since I've seen an 850, but that's the superior score, if you will. And then it goes down from there. So a lot of people, the people that I see over all of these years, typically they're in the 6s. That's the average working person trying to make it work. It could be low 6s or it could be high 6s, or and I see a lot of people in their 7s because they understand the credit rating. They understand the score. They understand how it works. So like I said, you can holler at me. You can go online. You can look to see what's going on with your credit. And really, it's important to just pull your credit so you know what's on there. Once you know what's on there, then you can fix it. But if you have bad credit right now, if your score is in the 400s, I hope it's not in the 3s, because if it's in the 3s, we need to talk. But if it's in the 400s, we need to talk too. 500s, I'll let you slide. 5, 6, 7s, you really can repair your own credit. A lot of people get credit repair places to fix their credit. $800, $100 a month. They pay these crazy amounts to have someone fix your credit, when in fact you can fix your own credit. It takes time, it takes knowledge, but you can fix your own credit. And the key to that is getting your credit report, printing it out, getting a highlighter, really looking at your credit, because the majority of people's credit reports are wrong. So if you've never pulled your credit, you don't know what's on your credit. So just really pull your credit. Like I said, you can do it on Credit Karma. You get a score. And also Credit Sesame, SESAME, creditsesame.com. That's a free credit score as well. And then also the 3 reporting agencies, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, they will give you a free credit report every year. So typically what people do, because you know how it is in the beginning of the year, everybody want to get their life right, get their life together. I'm exercising, I'm getting my credit straight. So they go pull all of these credit reports because now the new year, they're going to be responsible. They're going to get it right, which in fact, you shouldn't even do that. I'm going to tell you why. The agencies give you 3 credit reports free every single year, and 1 each from each 3 of the credit bureaus. But it's best to kind of space them out because you get the hard facts on the credit bureau's credit report. So they're slightly different from the ones that you may get from Credit Karma or Credit Sesame. That's just to give you an idea, a rough estimate on what your credit is. But when you get it from the bureaus, it's very, very, very accurate. Well, to them. You might look at it and some things may be wrong, and then that's when you start disputing. But you should get a credit report, say for instance, Equifax. Get Equifax the first part of the year, get TransUnion in the middle of the year, and get Experian at the end of the year. That way you can kind of keep track of your credit report all year. So if something pops up, you're like, wait a minute. And that's what I like about Credit Karma and Credit Sesame. If someone goes into your credit, they do an inquiry, they do anything. And if your credit score goes down, if it goes up, they notify you. And they'll give you an alert so you can kind of figure out what's going on with your credit. So credit is very important. If you use it wisely, it can be your friend. But if you mess it up, it can mess you up in life. And it's sad to say, but a lot of things, like I said, are based on credit. All right. So I'm going to talk about children and credit or money. I think it's very important. It's not taught in schools, although I think it should be. You think, Diamond? That kids should learn about money in school. A lot of kids don't know. They go their first year of college and go buck wild because they get a credit card. It happened to me. I was 17. I hadn't even graduated yet. I graduated from high school at 17, but I hadn't even graduated. Excuse me. And if anybody's from the Philly area, shout out to Philly, South Jersey. And I'm going to tell my age when I say this. But they gave me a John Wanamaker's credit card. Now it's Macy's, right on Market Street. You guys know where I'm talking about, diagonally across from the gallery, if you're familiar with Philly. Right on that corner, it was John Wanamaker's. And they gave me a credit card. I was in school. I was working part-time, but I was still in high school. And I lit that thing on fire. I was buying all the hot stuff. And I was paying for that credit card. Didn't have a clue. My mother, she didn't teach me about credit because sometimes back then, with kids, you don't talk about certain things. It's totally different than it is now. Like especially because some parents may not even know, and a lot of parents may not even teach them or know or think that they should teach them. But a lot of kids learn just by seeing other people. But anyway, tore that credit card apart. So I went there. My guest. We were like 17. My guest I had a couple of weeks ago, Tony Scurry, he came to New Jersey to visit, and I drove him from South Jersey to Philly. I'm like, we're going to go shopping. We're going to go, buy some jewelry. 80s, you get the jewelry, and we're going to do all of this and that. So we go in John Wanamaker's. I'm picking out all these outfits. I go up to the register. I got like an armful. I can't even carry it. I go up to the register with my little plastic money. And every time I tried to buy something, it was declined. And I was like, well, wait a minute. I know I have money on the card. And it wasn't like you can pull out your cell phone like you do now to check your balance and all of that. So I called the number on the back after I was kind of embarrassed at the register. And after all those clothes, I think I was able to buy one shirt and one pair of pants because I had no clue. Of course, that all changed. But I think that financial education, money management, I really think that should be those should be courses given in school. So, but with me, I've been in this business for a very, very long time. Like I said, my youngest daughter is 16. I've been in this business before she was born. So I taught them with an easel. I taught them when they were very, very young how to write a check, how to balance the checkbook, how to subtract or add, how to talk about fees. I did all of that in a demonstration in our dining room about money. And what triggered that is my youngest daughter needed something or was asking for something, and I said, I don't have any money on me. I can't get that or I can't do that. And she was like, well, just write a check or just use that card. I was like, okay, let me break this on down. I got my oldest daughter. I was like, all right, we're about to have a house session because you guys need to know about money. And then I proceeded to tell them how, the checks are, you guys are adults. You know that the checks are connected to your bank account and the credit card and so on and so on and so on. And like I said, they attend all my workshops. So they're very, very good with money and very money savvy, and they know about credit. They know about savings. They know about budgeting. They know about all that stuff. They know more than probably some adults. So I really think, and I'll be teaching a financial fitness class here in Maryland also, just about money. Money matters. Money is important. You can't do anything without money, but you have to know how to be responsible with your money. Because just like me, I'm sure you work hard. You don't want to blow your money. So it's really a thing about if you want to purchase a home, you really have to think about your needs versus your wants. Like, do I really need this or do I just want it? And I'm not saying you can't get your wants, but they can't trump your needs. You can't go on vacation when you got a foreclosure notice. You can't be balling at the club, popping bottles when your gas and electric is off. Like, that's senseless, but people do it all the time. You can't be sporting the latest gear when you have no phone, you have no heat in your house, and your car payment, you're hiding your car around the corner because you're afraid that the repo man will get it. That's all wrong. And a lot of people, especially in the black community, I'm going to be honest with you, it's all about the bling. It's all about the show. And sometimes it's not about investments. It's not about buying property. It's not about spending your money wisely. It's all for the time being. And people, we got to stop thinking like tomorrow is not going to come. For some, true, it may not come, but you have to prepare for your future. And if you're not going to be here, your children are going to be here. Your parents are going to be here. Your family members are going to be here. And you want to leave a legacy. You don't want to leave debt for someone to have to pay because you weren't responsible. So you really have to be responsible with your finances. You really have to prioritize your life, decide what you want to do, and don't spend your money on foolishness. I'm not saying you can't go out to eat. I'm not saying that you can't vacation. I'm not saying you can't buy those shoes you want to buy. But if your bills aren't paid and you don't have anything in the savings, then you need to halt. You need to not purchase a home. You need to just focus on spending. And when you're more mature with money and more responsible, then that's when you proceed to home ownership. And if until then you pause. And like, home ownership is not for everyone. You have to decide if that's for you. But you need to get your credit in order. You need to get your savings in order. You need to get your budgeting together. You need to have some type of budget for your household and a spending plan. And if you don't have that, then you need to get one. And that way you can save more money. And once you start seeing that grow, you're going to start to like that. Because a lot of people waste money. You have $100 bill. By the end of the week, by the end of the day, that could be gone because you're just peeling it out. Okay, so this was an impromptu show. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I hope you learned something. I didn't get any calls today, but that's all good because I switched everything around. But if you want to reach me, you can reach me at livingtruelivingyou.com. Also, I am a life coach. I'm certified in that as well. So that's what my website's all about. If you've never seen a show before, it did go a little differently today. I typically have a guest, one or two or more, but today that didn't happen, so I had to go solo with it. And you can also reach me on Facebook at Living True Living You Life Coaching, like my page. And let's see, also you can follow me on Twitter as well. If you're in the Maryland area, DC area, my Delaware people. I'm having an event, a vision board and empowerment workshop on Saturday, October 17th from 1 to 4. It's going to be in Owings Mills, Maryland. I'm trying to tell you, it's going to be a good time if you're ready to make moves in your life, if you're ready to pursue your dreams, if you're ready to be motivated, uplifted, encouraged. You can do that all while having a good time. We'll have food, live poetry. We're going to do the vision board exercise, and you'll get to hear me do my motivational speaking. A lot of people haven't heard that yet, but I am a motivational speaker, so my main goal in life truly is to help. You know, I've got a degree in helping. It's crazy, but that's really what my passion is and how I live my life, is to truly inspire and uplift someone. If it's through them seeing me and the things that I'm doing, if it's something that I can tell them, if I can get them over the hump, then that's what I'm called to do. I truly believe that. Anything you want to say, Diamond, before we roll out? Any topic you want to discuss right quick?
I mean, I want to talk a little bit about your vision board and empowerment workshop.
Okay.
So what I've heard people talking about vision boards and I know what they are, obviously, but to people that may not know what a vision board is, like what is a vision board?
And that's a good question. And my mom said, you must have talked to my mom. My mom was like, tell the people what they are.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's all about the law of attraction. If you see it, you think it, you feel it. It's repetitive. You see it on there. You can look at your vision and you can kind of almost the power of the mind, will it to come true. So what you do is you cut out pictures, cut out sayings, the things that you want, whether it's a new job, whether it's money that you need in your life, whatever you want to attract to you, whether it's a new car, whether it's just you want to go to church more, whatever it is that your heart desires, we do a vision board. And then you put the vision board somewhere that you can see it every single day. You look at it, you feel it, it feels you, you're kind of looking at it. It's just really positive thinking. And when I tell you, and I'm going to talk about this in my workshop, vision boards do work. It's almost scary. And I think because you have to feel it, you have to really believe what you're putting, and you have to believe that God is really going to make it come true. I have vision boards. I do them all the time. And when I can look at my vision boards and the things that have happened, it's almost scary. And it might sound like people might be like, well, I believe in God. I don't do this. But it's a fun exercise. It'll get your juices flowing. It will have you thinking about your future. It will have you ready to prepare yourself for your goals and your dreams that you want, because everybody has desires, everybody has dreams and goals, but a lot of people just sit on them. So this is a way to kind of get interactive with the things that you want to do and what you want to accomplish out of life. So I know that was the long answer, but pretty much big poster board on all the things that you want to happen in your life.
Yeah, it makes sense. And like you said, you see it. It's just like if you want to go to a party or an event, a play, whatever it is, and you put the flyer up on your mirror and you see it every day, it reminds you, oh, we're going to this, this event. And so, so it's the same kind of concept. That makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, I like that.
So I do it with my kids. I do it with kids a lot. I go to different organizations and do it with kids because I really think it's important to kind of start it off. A lot of people, their mind is all over the place, and it's okay. But if you want to accomplish something, then you really got to focus and do it. And I have a quick story. I'll tell it at the workshop. But when I'm telling you that some of that stuff comes true, it comes true. It's almost like, Dad, because I was looking at it. It's almost like you want a new car, let's just say. You see the car that you want driving by you all the time, okay? And you're looking at the car like, Dad, I can see me in that. I can see me driving down the beach with that. I can see, my hair blowing in the wind. Like you really start to, it's almost like imagine and think and feel that this is about to happen. I can see myself in that position. If you really know it and you will that to happen, it will happen. It truly will. I've seen it a million times, and it's happened with me a lot. Like I said, to the point where it's scary. I'm like, Dad. Even with money coming into my life, I cut out like amount of money that I wanted. I put it on the vision board, and I got a random check one time with the same amount. I almost passed out. So the stuff does happen. I remember I went to the Essence Festival years ago. And then I said, I want to go again. I didn't have any plans, didn't really try to do it. Was like, oh, that's something I want to do. I put that on the vision board. Unbeknownst to me, 2 years later, I went, and it was just a trip that was paid, that I didn't even pay for, and I went. Like, it's so many things that happen. It's all about the law of attraction, like that positive thinking. So it's a fun exercise. Like I said, at the event, we're going to do the vision boards. We're going to have food. We're going to have fun. We're going to have live poetry. It's going to be an empowerment session, but it's not going to be dead and boring. It's not going to be a lot of preaching. It's going to be interactive, and it's just going to be a big meeting of the minds, if you will. So I really, really encourage you to come. Like they say, I can show you better than I can tell you. But I really encourage you guys to come. October 17th. You can go right to my Facebook page and register and get your ticket. And the Facebook page, again, is Living True, Living You -Life Coaching. Like my page, click the link to Eventbrite, and come to my event. I would greatly appreciate it. And it will help you. Trust me. It's for you guys. Yeah, but thanks for allowing me to break that on down to the peoples. I feel like I talked a lot today. Dang. But like I said, you can reach me. You got any questions or concerns? I thank you so much for tuning in to Conversations with Kendell Lenice. I'm here for you guys. I'm a lover of people, and it's all about love for me, all about encouraging people. So if you can go to that Henrietta Lacks event at Johns Hopkins, if you're in the Baltimore area, Diamond, maybe I'll see you there. It's at 8:30, from 8:30 to 12:30. The free tickets are on Eventbrite. Even if it's sold out, that will give you all the information about the event and where to park, what building to go to. And I was told by my professor that although the tickets are sold out, a lot of people don't show up, so you can still show up and go. All right, this has been your girl, Kendell Lenice. Thank you so much for tuning in to Conversations. Peace.